morning. It is a beautiful start to the day. Rise and shine, rise and shine. This is Coffee Talk. I'm West 2 First Warning Meteorologist Eric Burris. We get together 7 days a week, chat about what's doing in the world of weather. And let's chat a little bit about the tropics, shall we? Because the tropics are showing signs of life. There are now 3 areas that we need to keep eyes on: 2 around Florida, 1 in the Gulf, 1 out over the Bahamas. Neither of those a genuine threat to us. So I'll just tell you, I'm not going to spend any time on those whatsoever. There is, however, that area off the coast of Africa that is little by little showing signs of life. That's one that I do think we're going to be watching very, very closely. Let's get right into it a little closer. And we see the satellite imagery showing some wake up, right? Over the next 7 days' time, there is a 50% chance that this gets going into a tropical system. Slow development is expected. So we're not expecting anything to be quick here. But there is definitely something that is trying to get going. And I would add that the models are somewhat consistent in developing this. There is, however, questions about steering and what it eventually wants to do. So clearly, that's something we'll have to watch. When we look at the global models, okay, we don't have spaghetti models on this yet. But what we do is we take the model paths and we try and show you kind of the idea on the globals, okay? And approaching the Caribbean islands kind of late this upcoming week is what the global models are showing. There is a decent level of consistency here. Now, beyond here, the question is, does it recurve? Does it get a little closer and then recurve? There's a lot of questions. We're not going to show you really beyond that, but we did want to at least, again, these are not tropical models. These are the global models. Once this becomes an invest, then we can start looking at the tropical models. But I at least wanted to show you kind of the idea here. And we like to kind of give you an idea of how that plays out. So what we will do, though, is we will look at the global models kind of one by one specifically, okay, and just kind of get an idea. So let's start. I'll go to the full basin view here and show you. We'll start with, this is the American GFS model. All right. And through time, first thing you'll notice is look close to home. All right. I'm going to zoom it in. You've got a little something over the Bahamas. You've got a little something over the Gulf. Those are the 2 areas that are also highlighted by the Hurricane Center. Notice that they're in light blue. They're not really, there's no greens and purples. That would be the computer model's way of saying pressure is going to be deepening here. This is developing. We're not seeing that. So at least through this weekend, and I'll just kind of play it out into next week early, the development threat is not really there. All right, let's go back out to the wide basin view. Look, though, at that time, we're starting to see in the central Atlantic, though, at least, right? Starting to see that blue and green and purple. So that's the computer model, the GFS in this case, showing development there. Okay, then it gets closer to the Caribbean, starts a recurve, and then as it's recurving, notice, look to the Gulf, look to Florida. Another indicator, something in the Bay of Campeche, pause, drink, and then something Bahamas and South Florida. So we'll be sloppy as this thing, at least according to the most recent runs of the GFS, recurve. But at the same time, that sloppiness, let me back it up again because you may have noticed it. Look in the Caribbean south of Cuba here, okay? That sloppiness ends up helping a CAG feature lift and work over to the Yucatan, kind of hang around. And then from there, it's just kind of got sloppiness. That's kind of gobbledygook on a model. Frontogenesis along with tropical cyclogenesis. Right. You almost have to throw out the end of a GFS run, but I digress. All right, so that's the end of the GFS. Let's re-rack this. Let's switch over. Let's look at the European. All right, what do we have? The Bahamas and the Gulf. Euro also showing those 2 features that the Hurricane Center is watching. Is there the potential of something? I mean, it's possible. Hurricane Center is giving both of these features like a 0.0% chance of developing. So I don't suspect that we're going to see that developing and doing anything, right? Is it possible? Sure. anything's possible. I could become a millionaire today. That also is possible, right? So I don't suspect that to be the case, but I digress, right? All right. As that's doing that, we'll come back out to the basin view. Notice the euro is a little slower with that feature in the central Atlantic forming. This is Monday, 2 p.m. Still not really formed. There we're starting to see that's going to be Wednesday morning. There's Thursday morning. The GFS is definitely stronger with this feature than the European, but it is what it is. All right, that's as far as the 6Z runs. Let's go to the 00Z. Even weaker. But it recurves. Watching the Caribbean. See, it's also sloppy, but it doesn't necessarily, and it's also got a front. The euro, like the GFS, has a front, but it's not as much of a developing a tropical feature as the GFS was. So, okay, so there's that. All right, re-rack. Come over to the Euro AI deterministic. The Euro AI, if you notice, has both of these features showing up. Definitely watching more of that Texas, Louisiana low. Then we work out into the open Atlantic. Now, at that time, notice that Friday, October 10th, the Euro AI has something kind of pulsing up around Southwest Florida, not necessarily strong, but something there. And then developing along a front. High pressure. Watching the Caribbean, lowering pressure. Nothing like organized, but lowering pressure. Okay, interesting. All right, just because we're here, let's look at the Canadian gem. I'm just curious. So there's both of those features. The gem's also got something like around the Caribbean. Interesting. Just a lot of kind of a soggy-ish pattern. And look at the gem. Is that a CAG it's trying to think up? Not as organized, but it's trying to lower pressures in that area during that time frame. Yeah. Matt says the last time we looked at the BSR, all of these signals were included. All of these signals were there, including the front. The days are just 1 to 2 days later. Interesting. I need to. I mean, I can probably. Let me see. Do I have? So there's a way I might be able to play with it and get the BSR. Let me. I can like super fakak to set it up. What I need to do. Whoa. Okay. What I need to do here, if I hit that, start that, I might be able to do this. Maps, interact. I can probably get some sort of a BSR. It's not going to be pretty, but I could probably get something going here. All right. So that we'll look at that eventually. But anyway, thank you, Matt, for remembering that, because I clearly do not remember that. Ryan says I'm getting married today. Let's stop what we're doing. Pause. Ryan Scott is getting married today. So before we move on to any other tropical stuff, congratulations, Ryan. That's a great day. Congratulations. That's amazing. Jonathan says spooky ghost voice. Oh, I wasn't asking for you to do it today. I was just mentioning the last time. Well, I've kind of got a way that we can get it figured out. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be fun on my end, but we can get it going. So anyway, good morning, Sunny Profile. Congratulations. Everybody's congratulating you, Ryan. You got a lot of people that are wishing you nothing but the best. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. All right, back to the data. We did our congratulatory stuff. Now it's back to the nerd stuff. Okay, all right, so let's look at some ensembles. Now, for those of you that are new, we'll switch over to GFS ensemble. We'll hit that. All right, so for those of you that are new, and the audience this morning is not massive. It's about normal. We usually have roughly 500 people watching on all of our streams live. So we haven't gotten into tropical hype yet, which is good. It's fine with me. My brother Frank says run. Don't listen to him. All right. So ensembles, basically think about it like this. GFS runs, European runs, and then when it's done, Goes back and reruns 30 different ways in the GFS's case, 50 different ways in the Europeans' case, okay? And what we can do is we can look at that, and at least it gives us an idea of other versions of the GFS or other versions of the European. Cindy says, we don't hype, sir. No. I don't mean us. I just mean the other people. Lynn says, we can assume that Ryan may miss the next few coffee talks. That's fine. Linda says, is this Facebook? I don't see my friends. So Linda, I see you commenting on YouTube for what it's worth. All right. Yeah, let's see here. This is the GFS ensembles. We'll just roll through time. There's not really ensemble support of anything really getting going around us. Now, there's some ensemble members that are trying to do something around the Yucatan through about the 10th, right? We see some ensemble members trying to do something. But look on the bottom right side. There's a bunch of ensemble members there near the Caribbean, right? This version is a little easier to watch it this way. So a bunch of ensemble members east of us, but there's some members showing something around us, So again, about the 10th through the 15th, it looks like there's probably going to be something in the ballpark of the United States. I'm not saying like a landfall. I'm just saying like there's going to be something we're going to be tracking, right? More than likely something recurves, but then at the same time, maybe something's trying to form in the Caribbean and lift our direction. So, and when I say our direction, I mean more like United States than like Florida per se, but I digress. All right, that was the GFS ensemble. Let's switch over. Let's look at the European ensemble. Some members showing perhaps some sort of development around the Gulf or Florida, but nothing significant. That's through this Friday, hour 144. Watch the Hornets out east of us, right? But at the same time, perhaps something getting going in the Caribbean and lifting. And I would say, just looking at the European, there's definitely more of a signal here, right? Like look at the Caribbean. This is Tuesday morning coffee talk, the 14th of October. So we're talking 10 days from now. Leave the beehive alone. Go ahead. I'll see you at the game later. Yeah. So from about next Tuesday, Wednesday, there's a pretty decent amount of ensembleage, right? There's a lot of lows from off of our East Coast all the way across the Gulf to the Yucatan. So there's definitely stuff to watch there, we'll say, right? Like there's definitely stuff to watch. Kelly says, if I get rained on in the next 10 minutes during my run, I'm 10,000% blaming me. We haven't gotten a local weather yet, so you can't blame me. I haven't said anything yet. But yeah, so looking at the ensembles, I would say, getting into mid-October, there are signals of something to watch. Nothing to get scared about, something to watch. Goes to woman. Well, even on YouTube, it was all transferred during the shutdown. I guess I came in too late. I have no idea what you're talking about. All right, that's the European. Let's look at the Euro AI. So there's the Hornets to the right. And look at this, kind of like some things around the 11th, sweeping along a front. There's everything east of us. And then the Caribbean. Yeah, so into October, I would say things are looking a little bit more, right? A little more extra, we'll say, right? So here we are for now in terms of the tropics. These are the areas to watch. Again, around Florida, there are those two areas of interest. Should not develop, but something to watch. It's that area in orange. Most of the model guidance recurves it, but while it's recurving it, it'll be the Caribbean that we need to watch. Matthew, how are you finding the iPhone 17? I got cosmic orange this year. I did too. I went full on orange. Yeah. It reminds me of the astronaut spacesuits from the shuttle era, which is why I went with it. All right. So yeah, kind of interesting. Now, for those of you that have interest in, let's see if I do that. All right. For those of you that have interest in the BSR, I'm going to try and do this. I may completely break everything, but I'm going to try this. If I hit this button and then, is that set up? That is set up. All right, I'm going to try this. If I hit that and hit that, does that work? Okay. All right. So if you knew the inception stuff I'm doing to get this working, you guys would laugh. Okay. All right. Here we are. Agoya says, applying to the UCF EOC for internships next semester. Hopefully I land a spot. Listen, I'm working directly with those folks today. I'm literally I'm working with them. I'm going to the EOC today, ironically. So anyway, best of luck to you. All right, so this is the BSR. What the BSR is a teleconnection, is a way to look way down the line. Okay, and I'm running it off of my computer. Doing it in a totally odd way, but we're gonna make this work. All right, because you all wanted to see it. So there's that. Okay, there's that. Perfect. Okay, so there's the BSR. And let me come back over to this program and let's just look. So first off, front this date. Give me a second to find what date this is. Oh my goodness, come on. September, running, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So this should be next. So this is the 10th, 11th, 12th, somewhere in that time frame. 10th, 11th, 12th. Front, definitely showing that front, right? Now, right there, that's a piece that's interesting, right there. That would be, that's around the 12th, 11th, 12th, 13th, somewhere in there, like the 12th, 13th, 14th. So 12th, 13th, 14th, that's interesting. Certainly not, and I would just add, nothing set in stone, but the 12th, 13th, 14th, there's at least some sort of an indicator of some sort of a little storm system in the Gulf. So definitely something interesting to look at. All right, continuing on. High pressure builds in. We're nice and quiet. Now that is less than desirable. That's like the 17th, 18th, 19th. Now, I don't, the models are not exactly going out that far, but that is probably, if I'm honest with you, that's the biggest BSR indicator of any sort of threat we've seen yet this year. So 17th, 18th, 19th, again, not set in stone. These are using teleconnection. So this is a somewhat non-standard method of forecasting. But that 17th, 18th, 19th, that's a pretty interesting setup there. You're mentioning severe weather setup. That looks more tropical to me. I know that it shows as fronts, but just knowing the BSR and knowing how this plays out, that looks like it would translate more tropical. So somebody needs to write down 17th, 18th, 19th. Honestly, it's more like the 18th, 19th, 20th. But somebody please write that down. Just write that down. That's a cold front / severe weather setup right there. That would be the 18th, 19th, 20th. So perhaps what this would indicate to me, at least, is that in that time frame, we have some sort of a tropical feature, perhaps hanging out in the Gulf, that kind of gets picked up by a front and thrown into Florida's west coast. Again, this is way out. This is using teleconnections for at least an idea, but it's something interesting, right? And I'm very transparent with, like, the accuracy on the BSR is low, but it gives us kind of breadcrumbs, we'll say, along the way, right? So it's something I like to look at, and understanding that it is what it is. All right, so that's a cold front there. 19, 20, 21. So yeah, so that's a heck of a front. And then something of a storm system out east of us. And then there's a couple other little front deals working through. Yeah. All right. And then beyond that, just checking it out. We'll roll through time. This is going way, way, way out. Nice little cold front. Oh, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? All right, that's a nice. Looks like, I mean, there's your severe weather setup right there. That's a good. What is that? November 1st, 2nd, 3rd, perhaps a nice little severe weather setup. And then look at that. Of course. What is that? November 4th, 5th, and 6th. That's a tropical signal. 4th, 5th, and 6th. Okay. All right. So that's the BSR that we have not seen. We have not seen in a while. I'm not going to tell you that I like what I'm seeing there, but there's the BSR signal for what it's worth. Good times. At least for now, nothing's too crazy. All right. Questions, comments, concerns about the tropics, the BSR. I hope somebody wrote all that stuff down. Hope somebody wrote it down. But questions about that before we move on to our local forecast. I want to talk local as well. It's a Saturday. We have to talk local as well. Right? Please? Somebody? I know y'all are going to want to talk about local. Why not? Good job on getting it going on the fly. Thanks, man. Chris says you should see my calendar. Yeah. Like when September 15th, you said early October and the system became a Melda. Hey, look at that. There you go. Sonia says written down. I appreciate you all for I don't want to say keeping me honest because I don't really care if this is great or not. Like my job doesn't depend on the BSR, right? My forecasting, yes, the BSR, I'm just looking at a teleconnection. But what I do want is for you guys to point out when we see things because I'm not doing it because I'm talking to you. Let's see here. Hurricane season 25 is saying finish. Yeah. In Mortal Kombat fame, right? All right, let's look outside, see what's doing. Tower Cam Network, writing down in comments. All right, looking cloudy this morning, right? That's downtown Orlando. Not a bad start to the day. Let's look over to the tourist district and see what's doing here. Give it a second to do the old handshake. Oh, that's pretty. Good morning, my friends. All right, over to the beaches. Let's go to Daytona Beach first. A little cloudy, a little wet. Yeah, New Smyrna. Let's check in on you. We'll make you the last stop. No, we'll go to Ocala last. Oh, New Smyrna. Look at that rough surf. You're not wanting to go to the beach today, are you, people? It's not exactly the prettiest. And it's looking pretty in Ocala, isn't it? All right. So first warning, live Doppler radar. Let's take a gander. Clearly, there are showers. So let's start in the metro and let's loop the radar. Nothing scary, nothing severe. But yeah, we've got those showers sneaking on through. It's fine. We're going to be fine. This is fine. Live report, raining in DeLand, Nick says. Let's move up here. Yep. Look at that. It's probably pouring in DeLand, honestly, right? Yeah. Up the shoreline, more showers. Up to Flagler. Look at that kind of developing up. Yeah, nothing severe. And this is going to be our trend through the day. Look at that. Offshore showers sneaking on in. Offshore showers, Brevard sneaking on in. Forecast for today, showers, maybe a few thunder showers, right? 50-60% chance of rain today. All right. Give me about 10 minutes. I'll go to the pedestrian bridge in Maitland and I'll flip you off on the tower cam. Oh, that's so sweet of you. Sydney says, bring on the rain. I know. Well, and a lot of people are not going to love the rain. Please do it. I'm too tired for this. A lot of people want the rain. A lot of people don't want the rain for a weekend. Real quick, checking on travel. Orlando International Airport looking pretty good. You say it's fine until you're caught running at it. I'm sorry. All right, so let's dial up Futurecast for today. Kind of get an idea of where we are headed. And I'll make it full screen. You don't need to see my ugly mug. And look at showers kind of widespread here or there. Through the afternoon, maybe, you see the yellows and the oranges. Maybe we get into some of the heavier pockets, some thunder, some lightning, that sort of thing. But otherwise, it's literally just hit or miss showers. It's literally same thing for tomorrow. Let's look at our Sunday. Hit or miss showers. Maybe a thunderstorm or two around, but just hit or miss showers. Hit or miss showers. It looks more like tomorrow afternoon, some thunderstorms, right? But hit or miss showers. So our weekend forecast, not great. 60% coverage of rain today, 70% coverage of rain for tomorrow. Here's the weather pattern. All right. Remember that area of low pressure we were talking about that had the 0% chance of forming tropically? There it is. It's firing up moisture. It's juicing up. I know you guys don't like that term, but here we are. And it's just throwing more of that rain in, more of that rain in, more of that rain in. Evelyn says, been wet before, will be wet again. That's it. That's it. Lows just kind of bubbling up along this front. It'll cross over, and all it basically does is it brings us the rainfall. It brings us rain, more and more and more and more rain, right? So that's where we're at. That's also why we have several different advisories posted. First off, coastal flood alerts, particularly around high tide. We did have some particularly high tide yesterday, right? So there's that. We also have a flood watch posted for, I believe, unless that was allowed to expire. No, flood watch is still in effect through tomorrow morning for Volusia and Brevard counties. And if you're wanting to go to the beach, high surf advisories still posted through Tuesday morning. High risk of rip currents up and down the area beaches. We look at our beach and boating forecast. This is not the kind of weekend to want to go out there and do the things, right? Surf 5 to 7 feet, 8 to 11 feet well off the shoreline, right? Eric finds the objectionable words and uses them frequently. Yeah, I would agree with that. Vanessa says, look, I'll take a 0% tropical system with rain, then a tropical. Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. I absolutely will. But when we talk about rough surf, like that's kind of a neat shot. Weather stem camera, Volusia County, like you could see one of those walls of water that's coming on in, right? You can also very clearly see the rough surf. Looking at Marineland up in Flagler County, right? This, friends, is just not the weekend to go play. It's just not. Right? So just keep that in mind. It's definitely juicy outside right now. Yep. All right. Mickey's asking, how much rain are we talking about? So that's a really good question. Let me find the GFS European comparison. And this will at least kind of take you through, next couple days. Mainly it's east of town, right? So it is what it is. The further east you live, the better the rain chance is. Today, it says Saturday. It needs to be changed to today. Stand by. I'm going to fix this. This hasn't been updated. Stand by. Tonight, breezy showers. Mostly cloudy skies. Perfect. All right, I'll be there with y'all, with the ponchos. Yeah. It looks better for the game, but for pregame, for tailgating, we're looking at breezy showers. All right. Tim, what's the chance of a Chick-fil-A breakfast today? Depends if you're getting your tuchus out and getting it, because I'm not getting it for you. It is what it is. That's right. All right. Go Knights. All right. Questions, comments, concerns, my friends? Are we looking good? How we doing? Tanya says, I hope I'm able to come back to Florida soon. Well, us too. Us too. Taylor says it's 100% better than a Chick-fil-A breakfast tomorrow. That's a good point. All right. I just want to get in and out of Dr. Phillips Theater without getting soaked. Yeah. All right. Questions, comments, concerns, everybody? All right. So UCF pregame festivities are looking a little wet. Otherwise, the game is looking better and better for it. All right. 7-day forecast then for us, right? 60% coverage of rain today. Increasing that rain coverage tomorrow into Monday as that storm system crosses, and then leveling off just a little bit into next week. All right, Debbie, go Knights, charge on. Miko, Colleen's asking, showers, 60% coverage of rain. It's going to be wet. Yes. I'm down for McDonald's breakfast burritos. There you go. Yeah. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns? We good? Also, may I present the average high temperature on the 7-day forecast? We have dropped to 87. Debbie's asking, are you working tomorrow? I am, yes. So my new working days, Sunday through Thursday. Yeah. Rock chalk, Jayhawk. Yeah, Sunday through Thursday. So I'll be on Wesh 2 News Sunrise. And again, this, until the next change. But right now, I'll be on Wesh 2 News Sunrise Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then Cam Train will be Fridays and Saturdays. That's where we're at right now. Mickey says, love seeing the 7-day not having highs in the 90s. That I agree with. Thank you. Koya, I appreciate you. If you see me at the game, let's say hi. I'll be looking for you too. Jamie's asking for the coastal forecast. Let's see if Cam did it. I can't promise, but if Cam did it, stand by. Coastal 7-day forecast. Look at that. Cam did it. Highs in the low to mid 80s. That's not bad at all. Lots of rain, though. It's wet. It's wet. It's wet. Alejandra, my son has a soccer game at Daytona at 1 p.m. today. Any lightning expected? The threat of lightning is low, but we keep it in the forecast just because it's possible. So yeah, I'm not concerned about lightning for today. I'm more concerned just about showers bothering us. So yeah, not overly concerned about that. How long until we get a new Kellyanne? Tim's asking. That is not my department. I can tell you we need a new member of the team. So a national search is on for a meteorologist. So I know that we've been interviewing, and other than that, it's outside of my control. So I don't have an answer for you. But I can tell you that the bosses are very, 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 very diligent in their process, and they're focused on making sure that they find the right fit for our team. So that's all I've got to report. Honestly, I'm trying to think of the word. What's the word I'm looking for? The vibe? No, that's not right. Like the tone that Manolfi sets on our team is very specific. Like you can't just hire some vain putz who wants it to be all about them, because Manolfi sets the tone of the team. It's not just Tony's team. It's all of us. There's a mission. Is that what it is? I can't, there's a morale's not the word. There's a way we operate that it's all about taking care of each other. And we need to make sure whomever we hire fits that. And there's a lot of people in TV that are all about themselves. This ain't it. So this ain't the place for that person. So I trust without a doubt our management locally on what they're doing. So other than that, let them do their thing, right? Chris, no matter how much you beg, I'm still retired. So you're not coming out of retirement is what you're saying. I understand. Culture. Thank you. Culture. Manolfi has said, and Manolfi is not making me say this. I the first time I ever called out sick at Wesh, I didn't call out. Manolfi called me out. I'll never forget that morning. I was unwell. Manolfi called and was like, how you doing? And I said, I'm terrible. And he said, you need to go home. And I said, no, you're good. It's your day off. It's your day off. And Malfi's like, no, you're going to be done for the day. Why don't you take the rest of the day off? And I was working like the super shift or something. And he's just like, I'm going to work for you tonight. We'll get somebody to work for you tomorrow morning. If you can't work, and if nobody else can work, he's like, I'll work. Manolfi literally worked a super shift. This is like 15, 16 years ago. I can tell you, I have worked for a few chiefs other than Manolfi. No one else has set up the kind of culture, the kind of team mentality that we have at Wesh. And that is not a lie. Seriously. I had a chief once tell me, I had the flu. And this chief said to me, if you can walk, you can work. That's not Manolfi. I had a chief tell me, if you can walk, you can work. I was on the air with a flu. I felt like complete and utter trash. Whereas Manolfi watched me that morning and said, You look like crap. I'm going to work for you the rest of the weekend. Go home and go to bed. He gave up his days off because he saw a member of his team was not well. That's just the way he operates. When Marquise got hired, we advocated that he gets a holiday. He gets some holiday time because, when he got hired, you could easily just hose the new guy. That's not the Manalfi mentality. I'll tease Manalfi. I will beat the snot out of him. That's my love language. But thank you. I forget who said culture, but that's what it is. Manalfi has set a culture on this weather team. And that's not a joke. And I'm not telling you that because I could, here, watch. Boom. Now I'm not representing Wesh. I'm going to tell you the same thing, right? Like that's what Manalfi does. And it plays in so big. We cannot hire somebody that's like all about me TV because that ain't going to work on our team. Anyway, Cindy said culture. Thank you, Cindy. Not that it matters to you all, the recipients of our forecast, but I'm just going to tell you that, I'm going to tell you my feelings. I'm going to tell you the way that I feel it. And that's the genuinity. Okay. All right. Tony Manalfi is the real deal. Sorry if I butchered his name. That's all right. I still butcher his name every time he and I talk. The Manalfi mentality. Love that. Needs merch. If I ever lose my job, I'm making all kinds of merch. We've got guides.gospel. We got all different things. Oh man. Okay. Stacy says that is special. It does matter. It really, really, really matters. And the one thing that he's always told me is he's just like, listen, just always operate under that guy's, it's a big deal. It's truly, and I hear stories of friends at other TV stations not dealing with that. And that's reason 855 why I'm so grateful to work with Manalfi and where I'm at, truthfully. Mike says, I'm like with my guys. I need to be in tip-top shape and don't want you getting others sick. I appreciate you here, but go home. That's Manalfi, right? He's like, when you're here, we're going to work. I got your back. I expect you to have my back. When we're here, we're going to work. If you don't feel good, go home so that you can come back healthy and work again. Yeah. Real servant leadership is hard to find. Yeah, I guess I would. Yeah. All right. That's, I think, all we got. When you have great team leader, it shows in the team in so many ways. It's true. All right, people. Enough. Happy Saturday. Be the sunshine in someone else's day. Bada bing. I'll talk to you all later. Sound good? All right. Take care. I'll see you on West June Sunrise tomorrow morning. And, of course, Coffee Talk at 8 o'clock. Bye.